Good afternoon, fellow Nigerians. Good afternoon, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. I am responding to the presidential address in respect of the nationwide End Bad Government protest. I want to preface my recommendations to President Tinubu because this is essentially an advisory recording because I'm a Nigerian and I believe that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu wants to succeed as a president. If I disagree with him in anything else, I hold this conviction very strong and firmly that he wants to succeed. He wants to go down in history as the man who turned things around in Nigeria for good. He wants to be our Lee Kuan Yew of Singapore. He wants to be our Deng Xiaoping of China. He wants to be our Kemal Atatürk of Turkey, and so on and so forth. Yes, he can be, but he needs to do the right things. I've told colleagues as an academic, my name is Professor Olufunmilade. I'm a political scientist. I major in international relations and strategic studies, and I'm presently the director of Buratai Center for Contemporary Security Affairs. Early in my academic career, I took interest in a subfield of political science called political economy. That was why in 1989, when I was writing my final year project, research project at Ogun State University, Department of Political Science, my supervisor then was Professor Razak Adefulu. I embarked on a topic titled The State of the Nigerian Political Economy under the Structural Adjustment Program, SAP. I chose that topic because in 1989, in the month of May, I was part of those students you could call the ringleaders of the protest, which President Ibrahim Babangida described as a civilian equivalent of a military coup. It shook the nation. Colonel Raji Rasaki was the governor of Lagos State, then the military governor, had to run from the State House to Ikeja Cantonment for protection. General Babangida himself, in battle gear and heavily reinforced convoy, ran to 2nd Mechanized Division, Odongbo Barrack, because that particular barrack is very strategic when it comes to keeping anybody in power in Dodan Barracks. And he said, among other things, the officers and men here should not let the military be disgraced out of office. That underscores the intensity of that particular riot. It was a riot against the set of policies President Tinubu is implementing how many years after? 35 years after. It is just not named Structural Adjustment Program, but in essence, they are the same thing. The only difference is that whereas President Babangida gave us small doses of some of the bitter pills of SAP, currency devaluation, removal of subsidy from oil. What Babangida did then, compared to what President Tinubu is doing, was child's play. And the same reactions are greeting what President Buhari has done, President Tinubu has done. There is protest all over the country. Even before now, we've had pockets of protest here and there. I recall a footage in which some hungry citizens were welcoming the president to Lagos Island with the chant of "Ebi n pa wa o, Ebi n pa wa o." That was some form of protest. We have had pockets of protest here and there in Niger State, in Ibadan, in Oshogbo. They are not just well publicized. It's not as if people, it's just that this present one is nationwide. And I want to quickly say something as an expert in peace and conflict studies. When the Peace and Conflict Studies program was introduced in Nigeria, I was among the pioneer postgraduate students at the University of Ibadan over 2 decades ago. Professor Soyinka has said it in his intervention on the presidential broadcast. He's not somebody who talks glibly or who talks just for people to be heard. He's somebody who talks when he really has to talk, and he doesn't mind worry about whose horse is God. He said something which I think should be carefully taken note of, that these riots can escalate to revolution if they are not addressed. All these explanations that dominated the president's speech about what he has done this, he has voted this amount of money for this, he has voted this amount of money for that. Fine, you have been trying to do something to save us, but they are not far-reaching enough. The bottom line for the average man and woman, the bottom line for that Nigerian you see on the street is, as your policy package put food on his table. As we are talking now, most Nigerians, many of them cannot even afford to eat even a day's meal. Yesterday, I got a call from a woman. She has been calling me, pestering me. She wanted to talk to me. Daddy, where can I meet you? And at the end of the day, I got tired. It was Sunday. I just said, in the spirit of the Lord's Day, let me just answer this woman. I knew where she was going because it's not the first call. It's not the second. And I'm just one person. I can't take over the responsibility of federal or state government and become the source of relief to all Nigerians. I'm trying my best. She said, Daddy, let me go straight to the point, because I said, go straight to the point. She said, we have not eaten since yesterday afternoon till this time, and it was around past 3 p.m. She started swearing she could use anybody, whether Shango or Ogun or whatever I wanted to. I said, you don't need to do that. I had to send some money. I'm sure that many of you watching me, your own situation is even worse than what I've just described. For those of you that are finding it tough to even feed your family, and for those of you that have had the unpleasant duty of having to cater to these people that are not necessarily lazy, they are not loafers, but because of these policies under President Tinubu, their living conditions have been aggravated. We are not saying President Tinubu, we are not saying by any means that you are the one who caused all this. You are just trying to see, particularly, how you could free some resources to pump into social welfare services, infrastructure, etc., and to save us from going into bankruptcy. Because as at the time you took over, our the percentage of our revenue being consumed by debt servicing was 90-something%. At a point, I think it was around 97% or so. So that is clearly unhealthy. But there is something you need to do, and you cannot escape that if you don't want all your efforts to go to waste. And that is macroeconomic stability. You cannot afford to allow the naira value to fluctuate up and down. It has gone high, fine, but there must be a limit. There must be a benchmark. We cannot run away from it. You cannot leave it all together to market to decide. Otherwise, market will mess up everything. Because those who are in business, those who have production plants, they need to be able to do long-term planning, starting from the time they want to take bank loans. it all depends on the naira rate to the dollar. So if they cannot project that in 4 months' time, 1,000 naira will exchange to a dollar, or if you choose 1,200 naira, because at every week we start having, acutely fluctuating rate. Sometimes it can even go as high as almost 2,000 naira to a dollar. This whole economy will be ruined. All your efforts will be ruined. Float it as you are doing. We know we cannot stop you from doing that, but you must have a benchmark. You cannot throw that away. If you don't do that, President Tinubu, my project is on what you are doing. And when I met President Ibrahim Babangida some years ago, and we were having a discussion on SAP, and I told him that I even researched my first, that after fighting you on the street, this is what I also did. I wanted to even interrogate it. And my conclusions, he asked me immediately, he said, hope you gave SAP a human face in your research project. I said, sir, the conclusions were all negative. I said, and personally, I didn't like it. He said, oh, Femi, to be frank with you, nobody did really. He was telling me too, they did not like SAP. Okay. So I think that's a message to you, because there is this insinuation that it's the Western powers that are goading you on to do what you are doing, neo-colonial forces. I hope you would also think of your reputation in the annals of history, and you will think of Nigeria, life after office. I don't want you to be a president that after you leave office, people will hear you at a function, they will go there with stones. You wouldn't need that. So you have to tinker with the naira. Those countries that are the greatest promoters of World Bank, IMF, do you ever see them joke with the value of their currency? They don't try it. Any government that allows their currency to fluctuate too much will be thrown out. Any government that allows their currency to lose value drastically, because it will devalue their lifestyle, it will devalue their standard of living. That is what currency devaluation means. Devaluation of the well-being of the people. Because what you can buy for 500 naira, you will now need 2,000 naira to buy it. That is why it's not something we should be excusing away on the platform of market forces. There is nothing like market forces. It is human beings that determine these things. The second thing you need to look at is oil. Everybody has said that. Those on the streets are telling you they bring it back to 100 naira. I'm not saying bring it back to 100 naira to a liter. But I did a policy paper immediately you won election. And it was titled, how did I put it? Something like policy advice to incoming president, oil refining. There were two. The other one was policy advice to incoming president, defense and internal security. Your focus should be on how to refine oil locally. Make good use of the Dangote refinery. Please, whatever politics is behind the recent issue with the regulatory agency at NNPC, I think you should rise above that. You are the Minister of Petroleum, Mr. President. So it's you we are going to hold responsible. Nigerians, that's why all the pressure is directed at you, not at your minister. So you need to ensure that through local refining, you sit down with those who are doing the refining and see what support you can give them, whether in terms of, what do you call it? Concessionary crude oil sale to them. You have said you will sell in Naira. That's very beautiful. I commend you for that. President Tinubu, thumbs up for you on that one. Thumbs up for you. Thumbs up for you. I even give you this. But see how you can reduce the price, which they will then transmit to the pump price, a form of relief. You cannot succeed in taking these people who are on the streets now out of the street. And if you use force to take them out of the streets now without making a major concession in this area of reduction in the pump price of fuel, I am afraid what Professor Wole Soyinka said could happen will happen, and that one nobody will be served notice. All the entire security agents in Nigeria combined are not up to 1 million. I'm talking to you as an expert, as someone who teaches in the military. If you are going to have a major social upheaval, our level of security mobilization in terms of forces, both military, paramilitary, and police, they are way below what will be needed to contain it. And there is an ominous development in the ongoing protest, and that is the fact that for the first time in the history of Nigeria, in a popular protest, you have the North participating. All the zones in the North are participating. And in the South, all the zones are participating. And you may say, with the exception of the Southeast, we have seen participation in Aba. And those Southeast, I have empathy for them because they have been under siege continually for years now. Every Monday they cannot go out. The Monday is the most important business day for any business person, but not in the Southeast. They are kept indoors. Is that not a form of compulsory protest? And in the week the protest started, you saw how they massacred the unknown government, massacred policemen, massacred innocent citizens. I saw one beautiful young lady in the pool of her own blood. Maybe she's a youth corper, maybe she's somebody who is in transit that you just called the protest, the problem they are caught up with her, and she went out and they shot her dead. So if things were normal or fairly normal, as during the EndSARS protests, I'm sure they would have participated. But I still hope that if it's only symbolically, they should still try and raise up their hands across the Southeast states that we are also suffering, we are also hungry. We also need a better deal so that it won't be like they are very happy and comfortable. So, President Tinubu, another thing you need to do with that oil sector is you need to shake that place up. Privatize NNPC, sir. I'm not really a fan of privatization, but do it in a way that, or maybe you contract out the management of the place. Get good hands from international oil companies, people that will be well interviewed to come and run the place. How can we be paying salaries in billions of naira to workers in 4 refineries that have not yielded a liter of oil for years, for decades? Where on earth is that done? When we talk of cutting down the cost of governance, that is where you need to look into. Then you need to also to pacify these people on the streets. There are some symbolic things you may need to do. For instance, reduce the number of your ministers, maybe to 37. Do a cabinet shake-up. Your ministers, I'm telling you, and I've been very, very careful before coming out to say this. I don't think I can count more than 3 or maximum of 5 that I can say are doing well, that they know their onions. And I will tell you some of the ones I think they have impressed the public to an appreciable extent. Your Minister of Health, Dr. Pate, is he a professor? Even if he's not a professor, I think they should consider giving it to him for the good job he's doing in the health sector. But the high cost of importing drugs has made a mincemeat of his efforts. This has made a mincemeat of his efforts. I'm on BP drugs. The cost of my drugs have multiplied by not less than 400 to 500%. Some people are now gathering herbs together. May God help them to deal with IBP, diabetics, and so on. I have a colleague, one leg was severed. We made contributions for him, the severe one leg, over diabetes. They've severed the second one now. Contributions still had to be made. People are dying, President Tinubu. It's not about people hating you or people being sore election losers, and that's why some people are complaining. People are really dying, and people are really suffering. So you need to look into that. The Minister of Interior, the one under whom you have immigration, the issue of passport and other reforms within the airports, that has to do with immigration. He has really tried. Another minister that I think is very passionate is that Minister of Women Affairs. Others may not see him as trying, but I followed her. She has passion. She has guts. You imagine the way she reacted to the idea of marrying away underage girls that ought to have been, supported to go to school to acquire skills. The help somebody wanted to give them is to marry them to jobless youths who needed to even, be upskilled. So I've mentioned how many now? 3. Then your Attorney General is not doing badly. The Minister of Justice is not doing badly. From there, I will say the Minister of Aviation, we need to see results of what that is doing. It's not doing badly too. I've mentioned 5 now. Honestly, I'm only struggling to go beyond that, Mr. President. So you need a major cabinet shakeup because you cannot achieve beyond your team. People talk of Chief Awolowo, what he did. I have studied Chief Awolowo carefully. I'm an authority on Chief Awolowo. Look, his success depended largely on the caliber of people he surrounded himself with. When he was premier, imagine the people like Chief Rotimi Williams, F.R.A. Williams, who was in his cabinet, Chief Adisa Akinloye, a very brilliant lawyer in his own right, Chief Remi Lekun Fani-Kayode. Those were geniuses of the time. People like Chief Bode Thomas, they were all lawyers, many of them. Chief Ayoroshiji, and so on and so forth. So, and you talk of people that like Wema Bode Estate, Chief Alfred Rewane. So, you need the cabinet rejig, and your kitchen cabinet, shake it up. Many of those you think you've worked with in the past may not be sufficiently capable of handling Nigeria. You need to look for new hands. Take a cue from President Olusegun Obasanjo. Even in his kitchen cabinet, Nigeria was complete there. and they were brilliant people. Apart from Yoruba in his cabinet, you find brilliant, he discovered many brilliant people. All those Dora Akunyili, Nasir El-Rufai, even your national secretary, no Ribadu, Dr. Obiese Kwesile, Professor Charles Soludo, Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala. You can name them. You need that. You need help. And there is so much to tell you. But there is one last thing I want to tell you that will really, really help you. I've reserved this for the last minute of this recording. You need to create a forum, a monthly forum where you'll be able to interface with Nigerians directly. The youth, the elderly, etc., etc. A multimedia platform whereby you will get some selected people to be in a room with you from diverse parts of Nigeria, across political parties, academics, professionals, not the ones you are used to. You can do the selection yourself. Watch TV regularly. You see some of them. Go online, Google. Let them come and discuss thematically. It could be on oil. It could be on social welfare. And then you now connect with the internet, spaces where all these young people are. They also will make inputs. They also will ask questions. If you do that every month, I'm telling you, you will thank God you watch this video, because nobody can counsel you better than Nigerians on the streets. Thank you, and God bless you. Long live Federal Republic of Nigeria, and long live all you listeners who have taken your precious time to listen and hear me out up to this point. When Nigeria's glory will be celebrated, may you all be there. Amen.